Brian Carlton on Triple M. Moon Man.
I got an email from a listener completely out of the blue. Gosh, when was that? A couple of weeks ago now. It's from Trish, and it reads as follows. Hi, Brian. Wondering if you can help with this. I've written to a bunch of politicians, I won't name them, with the question she wants answered, which related to the apparently the cessation of funding for hydrotherapy, which Trish claims, and she's right, helps keep some people out of hospital, and she's one of them. Why do we not have a hydrotherapy pool at the hospital like they do in Launceston, she writes. They're doing all this revamp, so surely they can factor in a hydrotherapy pool. Yeah, it wouldn't seem too hard. I hope you can get some answers, so they don't seem to want to answer my questions. Surely anything that helps to keep people out of hospital has got to be a good thing. Trish, I agree with you. And by eerie coincidence, or certainly for me, maybe not so for my next guest, but the city of Hobart was, I'm going to say forced, to put out a media release congratulating the Liberal Senator, Tasmanian Senator Eric Abetz, for successfully leveraging $3.4 million worth of grant money out of the Building Better Regions Fund program for a hydrotherapy pool. I have the good Senator on the phone. Senator, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. Good to be on the program.
I appreciate your time today. I know you're busy. There's a lot going on. The $3.4 million, is that for the creation and establishment of the hydrotherapy pool? Is it that solely for that?
Yes, there's a $6.8 million build, and the state government and Hobart City Council are providing the other 50%. So we're federally put in 3.4, and it's a great idea to have a hydrotherapy pool for rehabilitation, for people to be able to exercise without weight bearing on their joints. So this is something that's been in the pipeline for a while. The Hobart City Council and the Doon Kennedy Aquatic Centre have been pushing for it, and I'm delighted that it's all come together with a start expected early next year.
This is not for people like me who just might want a bit of a splash around in the warm water. This is for people who actually would be doing therapy sessions at the time, yeah?
Yes, this is a hydrotherapy pool or a warm water pool. There is, of course, all the other pools available at the aquatic centre, but this is specifically for hydrotherapy, and hopefully it'll assist a lot of our fellow Tasmanians who are in need of that sort of assistance, which will improve their lifestyle and their capacity.
Does the use of the hydrotherapy pool come under Medicare, or is there a cost attached, Eric?
I understand that'll be for the Hobart City Council to determine, but I am assuming that there will be a slight charge. But if it is for a medical or therapeutic or workers' compensation purpose, then one assumes those fees would be covered.
Okay, well, we'll definitely follow up on that, because clearly my correspondent Trish was in that category, and it's a necessary medical therapy for her. So making it prohibitively expensive is not going to be a thing. We'll follow that up with the City of Hobart, Senator. Appreciate that. Look, the other thing that's going around at the moment federally that I just want to touch on is the zero emissions by 2030, 2050, pick your date. Is the government going to be able to get two groups of people, the hardcore, well, not hardcore is probably the wrong term, but those who think some of the climate mitigation measures we're taking are a little bit over the top? There'll be some in the Liberal Party there, but also the National Party. Is the PM going to be able to get an agreement with this, and is he going to go to Glasgow for the big conference?
A number of questions there. First of all, the Prime Minister is a master at ensuring that there is unanimity within the coalition, and I'm sure that we'll come to a landing in relation to these matters, get a consensus, if you like, to ensure that we move forward together, and that's important as a nation, that we have a direction. As for the Prime Minister going to Glasgow, look, he's been overseas dealing with our defence issues with the United States and Japan, India, etc. So the question is, how often do you go overseas? Because you don't want to get the reputation of a Kevin Rudd. And so that's what the Prime Minister is undoubtedly balancing up. But the Prime Minister did exceptionally well at the G7 conference a few months ago. So I have no doubt that if he can, he will, but it's always a juggling act. And yeah, let's watch this space. But I think the Australian people want to see a good energy policy which has as low an emission footprint as possible, whilst ensuring that we maintain base load energy. And in Europe, at the sort of beginning of the Glasgow conference, we're now seeing what happens when there's an over-reliance on wind power, because the wind hasn't been blowing for a while, and that's consternation. So that is why with all these things, you cannot have ideology driving it. You need technology and common sense. So you have to ask the questions, and this happened in Germany recently. There was a lot of snow falling without wind, so all the solar panels got covered and the wind turbines couldn't operate. And as a result, Germany had to import nuclear energy, as I understand it, from both France and Scandinavia. Australia doesn't want to be in that position, and therefore we need to keep baseload energy, and that is where Tasmania in particular, with our hydro schemes, is just so very well positioned.
Yeah, indeed, it's even worse than that in Europe at the moment. Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, has decided to set them at war against each other, the European countries, to secure enough gas supply to offset those losses from the renewables that you refer to as well. So there's security risks involved in this too, I would have thought. You don't want to be giving a huge amount of power to Vladimir Putin just to keep the toasters and coffee machines of Paris running, do you?
And look, Brian, that's a very good point, and that is why, having learnt that lesson from Europe, we've got to ensure that as we move forward in this space, we don't prejudice our economy, our manufacturing sector, and our household budget. So getting that balance right is, for me, the fundamental point. And so that is where, look, at the last election, Labor and the Greens had quite excessive policies in the area and said that that this was going to be the climate change election. Well, my view is, yes, it was, and the people of Australia voted for a sensible technology, not ideology-driven solution, and that's the way that Scott Morrison and the Coalition continues to operate.
We've got only 30 seconds here, Senator. I'm running out of time, unfortunately. Bombshell yesterday in Victoria's IBAC, their anti-corruption commission. Labor's Anthony Byrne has basically, thrown a hand grenade into Anthony Albanese's office, and also, I would argue, into Daniel Andrews. Has he got a place in the Parliament still? Is he a good bloke, or is he a traitor?
Well, I've served with him on the Intelligence and Security Committee. On that committee, he's been nothing short of excellent, but given that which has been exposed, I think he might have a few issues to deal with.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Senator.
Thanks, Brian.
Senator Erica Betts, Tasmanian Senator. The headline there is the hydrotherapy pool, which is going into the aquatic centre, and we'll touch base with the council on how the funding for all that's going to work out. Will you have to pay?
Live from Hobart, 6 a.m. weekdays, Brian Carlton, the Spoon Man, on 107.3 Triple M.